In today's episode, we are going to talk about how hiring and retaining employees is crucial for the success of your organization, how to maintain healthy work culture, and what about job security. So keep watching. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our brand new episode of the podcast, The Business Queens. Today, we have on the show Miss Rinkoo Rajpal. She's the founder and CEO of Ardent Aspirants, a successful HR consulting and corporate events management firm. So, Rinkoo, we welcome you to today's show.
Thank you very much, Ishleen.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you very much for asking.
Great. So, Rinkoo, tell us about your transition. How did you transition from being working somewhere and then all way as an entrepreneur?
Okay. So, as all of us, all working women, have to juggle between work, office, personal lives, children, families, and everything. I was also struggling and juggling between all these. In 2012, when I was working with one of the Canadian firms,
Okay.
my father was diagnosed with blood cancer.
Oh.
And then he was fighting blood cancer when I decided to be with him for a while. So I left my full-time job and spent time with him. So, we all are working professionals, so it's impossible for us to sit and, do nothing. So I started working as a partner to one of the recruitment firms at that point of time.
Okay.
And that's where, this journey of working, on your own started. So for about a year or so, I worked with one of the firms and as a partner. And then one of my old friends suggested that why don't you be on your own? Why don't you get your own firm registered and do work on your own? So I was like, really? I mean, I'm not made for BD. I'm not a businesswoman. I have never thought of business. So then he said, do think about it and let's see how you can manage this. Okay. So I just thought, mulled over it, discussed with my husband, discussed with my daughter. And then we thought, okay, let's give it a try. And that's how, so, I was sitting with my daughter to think about our name.
Okay.
And that's how Ardent Aspirants, this name was born. So how we named it as Ardent Aspirants is, I've always been very passionate about my work. And I've always aspired to do more and more. So clubbing the passionate and aspirations, we came to the name of Ardent Aspirants. So that's how we started. And my dear friend Sunil Yash Kalra, he was kind enough to, introduce me to my first client. Okay. Where they were, this was a multinational organization, and they wanted to hire a director sales.
Okay.
We could actually do that. We could close the position in no time. And of course, that gave me a kick that, oh, I can do it.
Right, right.
So and that's how I started.
Okay. And this is indeed wonderful to know, how somebody could suddenly transition from being an entrepreneur. But Ajit, tell us one thing. What kind of services Ardent Aspirants give?
So we do most of the times, 80% of our time goes into the talent acquisition piece. Okay. For the startups, for mid-sized firms in India and abroad. We have been serving clients in India, Qatar, and some of the positions for our clients in India for overseas locations as well. Okay. So across geographies, we have been hiring for clients.
That's great. That's good to know.
Apart from this, we also do employee engagement events. So something like employee offsites, leadership offsites, Training need identification whenever our clients need our help. So training need identification and then helping them with trainings. Some of the HR trainings I do, some of the technical trainings, then we arrange for technical trainers. Okay. So that's the bouquet of services that we provide.
So that's indeed a huge plethora of things that you are managing together. And hats off to you for managing so many things in such a short journey. Like you have just started your journey and you are managing so many things. That's excellent.
Oh, it feels like ever now.
So I think entrepreneurship is like that only. The moment you start, you feel you have been doing it since a lot of time.
Yeah, it's almost, I mean, we are about to complete our 10 years now, in early 2024. So it's a decade, but it looks like more than 3 decades.
No, I can relate to that, Since I've been doing consulting and coaching, I feel I've been doing it since I don't even remember how my life was before that. So I'm so absorbed into that. So I can completely resonate.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rinkoo, you have talked about so many things. So let's just discuss them one-on-one. Like you talked about hiring first. So what suggestions would you like to give to business owners who have to hire and retain talent? Because, hiring and retaining both have become very, very crucial for any organization to run efficiently.
Absolutely. So in terms of hiring, my suggestions to anybody and everybody are that any HR or hiring manager should be patient when it comes to hiring. What I have been seeing more often than not, that everybody wants to hire as of yesterday. And, in that rush, eventually some bad hirings happen.
Right.
And then there is a lot of cost that has gone into it, the hiring part, the training part, and all that stuff. And then people start regretting.
Right.
So to all my clients who have ever I have been associated with, I have always worked with them very closely and made sure that we get them the right profiles for the right jobs at the right time. Fortunately, we have, fewer number of clients with repeat business for years.
Okay.
We have been working with, majority of our clients have been startups in different domains. Lot of work we do for consulting, consulting industry. So management consulting, healthcare consulting and all. So work on a lot of niche profiles, high-end professionals. So I have to do a lot of work there. When we are doing the leadership hiring, I do it myself because, junior recruiters are not, equipped to do that actually.
Absolutely.
So that is my 2 cents that, put in it a little time before making the offer. Always be ready with the backups.
Right.
So a lot of time hiring managers roll out an offer and then they are free from the thought process. Okay, we have closed the offer. But then on N-2 days, they get to hear that, oh, this person is not joining. Because of whatever reasons, how the market is today.
Right.
Then they juggle between, trying to, still convince the person, happening, not happening. And then eventually the process starts from scratch again. And then they end up wasting like those couple of months at least, because at least 1 month notice period is there. And to identify a resource, it does take about 2-3 weeks, right? At a leadership level. So I always suggest that people do keep backups, at least 2 backups. Just before the final round of interview, they can park them. And recruiters are equipped to handle that situation when they can tell them, okay, the hiring manager is traveling or whatever. And, then they are in a safe place actually.
Okay, so when you were talking about startups, there is one thing that just crossed my mind. As I also work with most of the organizations who are just in the beginning of their journey, like 5 to 6 years down the line, or even 10 years down the line. So there is one common issue that most of them face, which is once the person joins in, after 2 to 3 months only, they quit the job many a times. So do you think induction training plays a very important role here?
Of course it does. Of course it does. So, see, not only induction training, also about, hiring somebody who believes in your mission and vision.
Right.
So, unless, the hiring manager is confident that this person can take the journey as myself, the person should not be hired. So the person who's getting hired should be completely convinced about the product or service that the company is offering. Only then this relationship will go a long way. In a rush to hire, we always end up losing that bit, whether the person is 100% in our seat or not.
So somehow it is related to the hiring process only. And what about the cultural fit?
See, in terms of cultural fit, few things go into the process. One is from where the person is coming from. Then what kind of culture we have in the organization. And then trying to make a symmetry and trying to explain that, okay, things are going to be a little different than what you have been. So it's something like, a girl gets married, goes to a in-laws house, and the culture is different.
Yeah.
So it's something, very similar, because you leave a job, you go to a new job, and the culture is different.
That's
so
a great example.
all so it's like, you have to make adjustments. So both the ends have to make adjustments. And like a new bride into a new house, a new employee into a new company has to make a little more adjustment. Understand that you have joined a new company. The culture will be somewhat different. Stop comparing. The comparisons are the ones which brings a lot of dissatisfaction and then does lead to leaving.
Yeah.
So, these are the things which need to be inculcated during induction also, by letting them know that, okay, how we operate, what is the difference between, working and fun here, what kind of fun elements we have in the job. Do we party hard as much as we work hard or not? So all those things, as much as we explain them as HR professionals, HR leaders, to the incoming employees, they become more confident about, okay, yes, this is the place I can be at for a longer period of time.
Right. So I've also seen in most of, small and medium enterprise that people are hiring good employees. Like they are hiring some of the best people who have worked in good MNCs from top B schools and everything, but still they are not able to retain them. One of the reasons that I've come across is that they come with a different set of expectation, or maybe they have an experience of 5 to 10 years in a place where the systems are set, everything is set. But in a small and medium enterprise, the things are entirely different. So what do you suggest? How can HR managers and the HR department handle this thing?
We, as a HR leader or as a hiring manager, one needs to explain upfront, number one, that we are a startup. We have fewer number of resources at our end. And therefore, we have to keep wearing different hats at different points of time.
Yeah.
So, so multitasking is something that we all are doing and is expecting every one of us to do. So that it is not too much of a chaotic, thing that happens to any particular employee that comes in.
Right.
So one is this. Then the other thing is that, yes, as far as systems, procedures, processes are concerned, when anybody is joining startup, they do understand that, things will be open-ended, things will be, some things will be there, which even founders have not thought about. So we all have to work as a team, brainstorm on different things at various point of times, bring things on the table instead of being frustrated.
Right.
Frustrating and getting, to leave is very easy. But being a part of that thought-provoking team, and getting to a newer perspective as a team is what is required from any person who is joining a startup.
Yes, agree, absolutely. And I agree 100%. And you know what? The HR manager has to be open in communication, as you just said. But I think they must also check what are the goals of the person who's joining. Because there are few people who love challenges, who are ready to, do different things because they feel that at the end of the day, we are learning new things. If I'm joining as one designation and I'm doing multiple things, I will learn more things. I'll get more exposure. But there are few people who just, join in because they feel they are getting more responsibility. There are few people who are joining for good salary because you are offering good salary and they feel that, okay, it is a small organization, so there would be less politics. So there are different reasons why people join. So I think the HR managers have to be very, very careful while hiring. Like, what does the person actually feel about joining the organization? And it's better to not to lie and be very truthful upfront regarding everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we all need to be communicating the things the way they are.
Right.
Instead of polishing or, modifying things and then regretting at a later stage, it's better to be upfront, honest, truthful in communication from both the sides.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you also talked about employee engagement, and I have seen that many small and medium enterprises, they still don't have that much employee engagement activities, although they are doing it now, but still there are many of them who do not still understand the importance of it. So how does this all help in employee retention?
So I'll tell you now, at least in the new age startups that I have come across, at least 90% of them are founded by people who are themselves from either the consulting space, have worked with MBB or Big Fours. Those are the people who have the caliber actually to do startups, right? So those people come from a place where there is a culture of keeping the employees engaged, and therefore they do have the mindset.
Right.
Then it becomes a responsibility of a HR manager to be aware of the thought process of the leadership.
Absolutely, very important.
So what happens many a times that HR manager is thinking something else, the founders are thinking something else. There's no symmetry there. That is the reason organizations fail. Many a times we come across situations where a particular startup has had a change of HR managers so frequently, and that takes such a negative impression in the industry that it becomes difficult to gain back the respect in the industry for that particular organization. So it's I'd say here the role of the founders is more crucial. Because at the beginning, when they are setting it up, they are doing all the jobs together themselves.
Yes.
They don't have a higher HR manager for at least initial 12 to 18 months.
Right.
Only after 18 months or 24 months, they actually hire a HR manager. So till that time, they are holding the fort. So it becomes more crucial that whenever they hire the HR manager, they spend time with the person, understand the person well, explain the whole, their whole business idea, their whole thought process in terms of how they want to grow the organization, how they want to take it to the next level, what is their expectation from the HR manager, and how they should work as a team.
Right.
So the role of founders is even more crucial.
And in these time, like, the mental health is at stake, people are getting more depressed, there are more stressful jobs, stressful situations, in terms of, like, people compare themselves with others a lot. Like, if I have these luxuries, I want to take, I want, if the other person has these luxuries, I want the same. So I think the stress and competition has really increased. So what is the role of HR in maintaining the well-being of employees?
Definitely, this is very important aspect, and this is becoming an integral part of employee engagement now in most of the organizations, where HR is coming forward and arranging different activities like yoga classes, health checkups, one-on-one chats, where they are getting to know more about employees. They want to know how things are at the personal end of these people. So not the HR manager can do everything. It's the person's manager. One-on-one, they should get to know more. It's not only about work always. They have to be personal about the person. They have to know what's going on in their lives.
Right.
Because as a manager, we are expecting a person who is joining a startup to put in extra hours, to put in like 12, 15, 18 hours a day. And if we are not, we don't know what's going on in their personal lives, then definitely we are up for a failure. Because there's so much going on in everybody's personal lives,
right,
that you don't know what's going on. And definitely that plays a major role in the performance of any particular employee or an individual. Because if you're not sane because of your personal issues that are going on, you can't give your 100% to your job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Being a leader, this is one skill every leader must possess, which is empathize and build connection. And empathy is something, when I talk about empathy to people, like, I've also been working as a leadership coach, people sometimes they get confused between empathizing and sympathizing. Instead of empathizing, they start sympathizing. Oh, this happened. Wow. Oh my God, that's really bad. So they don't understand a thin line between empathizing and sympathizing. When you actually empathize, you put yourselves in other person's shoes. Sympathizing is just at the upper level. You're not actually understanding what the person is going through. Because if you understand that, then you will not force the person to do what you are telling them right now. So you can't force the person. You have to actually understand what are they going through. And these days, as you just said, there are so many things going on in people's life. Like, their parents have some disease which are non-curable. They have challenges in their families, with their spouses, with their children. Like, teens these days, they act so differently sometimes. There's so many things. So building a connection with your team is extremely important. So I think, as a leader, or as a HR department, or as a business owner, we all must empathize the situation of the employees. And at the same time, leadership skill development is something very, very important. You can promote somebody because of their skills, expertise, experience, whatever, but still they need to be trained how to be a good leader.
Absolutely. Soft skills are as important as technical skills for a role.
Right.
Apart from that, I'd like to add here, only empathizing won't help as well.
Right.
We need to go an extra mile as a leader and make sure that if a team person, if a team member is going through something which is really harsh, we should extend our hand to be supportive, to be able to help them as if they were our family. We should be able to say that, okay, we'll do whatever it takes for you to go through this.
Right.
So we are in it together. As much as we are in our work lives together, we are in our personal lives together as well. Absolutely. So this confidence, if a leader is able to give to a team member, this person is going to be a loyal person forever.
Absolutely. So, which means, building trust, building credibility, building connection with your team, these three qualities also need to be there. Because then only you can empathize well. Then only people will feel confident enough to share their personal things with you. They don't want themselves to be judged. They cannot talk about their vulnerabilities, that this is what they are going through, until unless you build such connection with them.
Absolutely. Unless somebody has a confidence in you, he or she won't share what's going on in their lives.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So, Rinkoo, tell us one more thing. Like being in small and medium enterprise, sometimes the HR department or the business owner is not able to decide the compensation structure because they want to hire the good talent, but they don't want to pay that much as well. So, what is the right approach to take up?
See, one has to understand and realize that nobody will join a startup if you are not giving a good hike.
Right.
And more often than not, I have seen organizations struggling if they are with a mindset that we don't want to pay as much. These kind of organizations have not been able to grow to as much as 20 members team.
Absolutely.
There is a client of mine who has been a client for many years, but they have been struggling for this reason because of the conservative approach. People join startups for a simple reason that they get, good hike, like 40-50% at the least.
Right.
Why they would leave a multinational organization and join you if you are not going to a good jump on salary? Because they are also leaving their settled jobs. So many of the other benefits that you will not be giving to them. A fixed timing of job. So they are also going to be giving you a lot more than what they have been giving in their settled jobs. So one needs to understand that we have to compensate in one or the other way.
Right.
And if you are so bullish about the person that this person brings in a lot of value, so then you should be ready to pay for that as well.
Yes, absolutely. And when you are saying this, there are so many examples who are flashing in front of my eyes. Like I've seen it in so many places altogether. Okay, what do you think about job security? Like I was working with a client of mine. So what happened in his case is, like if he said, I fired 2 people from one department because of the productivity issue or whatever is the reason, next 5 also leave because they feel there is no job security. We can be laid off. So what do you think about that?
You really think there's something called job security? There's no life security. I have seen life going in minutes in front of me. So it's a myth.
Yeah.
People, whether they are employers or employees, they must understand and agree that job security is a myth.
Yeah.
As much as we don't know how many more breaths we have to take.
Agree. But you know what happens is when the employees start leaving like this, any organization, the organization and that particular department really suffers a lot. So in that case, like so I would say this is a crisis. This is a state of crisis for any organization when the people start leaving, one on one. So what should be the right approach that a business owner must take at that time?
So here is what I suggest. So a leader's role comes into play at this point of time. So if at all, let's say if somebody has asked 2 people to leave, so before the more damage gets done, one needs to gather everybody in a room, explain why those 2 people are leaving or have left, and give them confidence that there's nothing going to happen to them if they are performing.
Right.
So needs to re-emphasize the importance of performing at your 100%. Plus give them confidence that we are all a team. We have to get together, go together on the paths that we have set for ourselves.
Right, right. So the open communication is the key at that point, because
absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. So, unless you have that channel open, these kind of crises are bound to happen.
Right. Because
so only in those kind of, if you decide in one closed room that okay, these are the two people we are going to let go, and there's such a hush kind of thing. Don't let anybody know. People will eventually know,
right?
And then they'll make assumptions, and then they'll start leaving.
Yeah, so that's an important thing.
So one has to stop that. One has to do the damage control before it even starts.
Right, right.
So one should not stop from this, at the time when you decide to have two people leave. At that time, you have to think, okay, we are letting go these two people. How do we manage the rest of the team to make sure that they don't follow? Right. Absolutely. And there is one more thing to it. Sometimes what happens is, I've seen that business owners, they also get complacent. They say, okay, if they want to leave, let them go. But this is something they should refrain from. Because if all your best people who know the culture, who understand the work, who are doing their work well, who are very productive, they are handling everything as per, your vision and your mission, they are aligned, they should not leave. They have to understand. Absolutely that. Not. So that's where the soft skills of the leaders come into play. Right. So it's not only about the team's leadership or soft skills development, it's also about the leader's soft skills development. So it becomes all the more important for HR leaders to play their role here and make sure that they are not only arranging trainings for the teams, but also for the leadership per se. Yeah. The HR manager is not supposed to come and say that, okay, you need a training. Right. They have to portray it in a way, articulate it in a way that, okay, as much as we need to develop our employees, we need to develop ourselves as a team as well, to be able to handle the teams. So, and he or she becomes the part of that team where they all go through a leadership development program. Yes, I completely agree. So, Rinkoo, this has brought me to the end of today's episode. I cannot stop talking to you. There are so many things that you have shared with us, so many lessons to learn, so many insights that will be definitely valuable for our audience. What would be your message to our audience who are listening to us today? I'd say that, we all are in a state in the world where life is so uncertain. So we all should be always positive, always thinking about a little more, and not only thinking about a little more, but also thinking about ourselves. Be our own, guardians at times, and take care of our inner self as much as we need to take care of our outer self. Yes. Thank you so much. And that's a powerful message indeed. Thank you so much for taking out your time, Rinkoo. And it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening as well. Thank you.